Ransom note. Given two strings, ransom note and magazine. Return true if ransom note can be constructed by using the letters for magazine and false otherwise. Each letter in magazine can only be used once in ransom note. Okay, let's take example 3. We have ransom note is equal to AA, and we have magazine is equal to AAB. Using AA and B, we can obviously make, ransom note because we have the AA from AAB. But if we look at example 2, magazine is AB, but ransom note has 2 A's. Therefore, we cannot create ransom note using the characters in magazine. Okay, so an approach that I would use to solve this is I'll create a hash map and I would run it through magazine, and I would count how many times each character appears in magazine in the hash map. Afterwards, I would run a loop through ransom note, right? I'll run a loop through ransom note and I would check if that element or if that character is in magazine, and if it is, then we would subtract one count from that character key in magazine, and we would keep doing that. And each time at the end of the loop, we would check to see if that value or if that counter value for the character key for the magazine character key has dropped to 0, and if it has, we would delete the key. And we keep doing that, and eventually we would be able to figure out if it's true or not. We'd have a Boolean value, like we'd set basically we would set a Boolean to be true. We would set a variable to be equal to true at above the loop, and if we find that for any character we've run out of characters to use in magazine, or if it doesn't exist, or if the key doesn't exist in magazine, then we would change that. You change that to false, that variable to false. Okay, so let's actually code it. All right. An easy one-liner way to get the count of all characters in the magazine is to do this. Counter magazine. Counter magazine. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Then for I in ransom note, if magazine of I, if I is, sorry, that's not it. So as we iterate through ransom note, we want to check if it's in magazine. If I is in counter magazine, so we're going to get counter magazine of I, and we're going to echo 1. Okay. And otherwise, if it's if it's not in there, then we want to create a, let's call this Y, and we'll call this true. It'll be true because, guys, it's easier to have a variable set to true and find a case where it's not true and then change it to false, rather than start out with it being false and try to prove it's true. Just prove something false. That's it. So now we can prove this false. This would be false because we know that it wasn't there. And if counter magazine of I is equal to 0, right? Then we want to delete that. We want to delete counter magazine of I, and just return Y. All right, and the time complexity of this, since we're iterating through ransom note, it would be, which is input, it would be O of n. And the space complexity, since we're counting pretty much every element in the magazine, would also be O of n. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, that's about it. All right. See you.